Yeah, no, screw this. Let's go for a walk. Alright, this is better, isn't it? Just some birds, lovely nature. Let's talk about some serious topics. You've clicked this video, so you know the title. And yes, I've been declared clinically infertile. What does that mean? What does that mean for me as a person? What does that mean for me as a partner? And what does that mean for me as a potential father? These are the things I want to discuss in this video. And what does that mean for the channel? That's also a thing, but it's on this whole list of things, it's the least important. To be declared clinically infertile in Germany means that you have been trying with your partner to get pregnant for over a year and that it hasn't worked. So then usually you go get yourself checked. That is what I did and my girlfriend at the time. I'm saying at the time because yeah, let's start with the big news. We got married. I'm a married man now, so she's my wife now. We start on a happy note. Yeah, for us, after 1.5, almost 2 years of trying, we decided we need to get ourselves checked up, see if everything is all right with us. And as it turned out, it wasn't. The values I had on my test were abysmal, really abysmal. I won't go into the details. How do I phrase this without getting the video taken down by YouTube? There are certain words I'm sure I'm not allowed to use, which is stupid. I'm just gonna use them, like there's no way talking around it. My semen, there's not enough of it. And the things that are there, they aren't moving enough. There's a simple reason for that. But it was quite difficult to figure out that reason. I was tested with blood. The semen itself was tested. Hormones were tested. And everything was perfect. Everything was mighty fine. So people were like, what's wrong with you? Must be an injury that you obtained. And as it turns out, I had an infection of the prostate, I think that's the English word, a couple of years ago. And that wasn't diagnosed, which isn't a problem because it was treated correctly with antibiotics, which is sadly the only thing you can do there. But it wasn't treated immediately. I woke up in the middle of the night with some intense pain. And I thought, hey, it's the middle of the night, I can't go to a doctor now. I would have to go to the clinic, it would be really annoying. I'll just sit through this, can't be that bad. Yeah, it was. So I went to the emergency hospital in the morning actually. And they were like, it's a bit, nah, just take antibiotics, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And yeah, this time that I was indecisive about going to the hospital, that was all it took to get some inflammation down there, to scar up some of the puffs that the semen actually takes to flow through. Sounds maybe a bit weird, but you know what kind of video you clicked, so I assume you expected some kind of semi-medical terms. So yeah, with that scarring, the path for my things to come out and flow freely is mostly blocked now. Which means they get jammed and destroyed on their way out, which is the problem we are facing. So I'm biologically perfectly fine. It's just the path out. Why am I talking about this? Because for me that was actually a big thing. I am not sure if I would have made the decisions I have made, we'll talk about them in a second, if it weren't for the doctor saying you're biologically perfectly fine. It's not like you're genetically defect. Because one of the big questions is, if you're in this situation, can you have children? Do you want to have children? And the one question was a big one for me. Where should we go there? Because as I said, if they would have decided I have a genetic defect, then I think I would have said no. Because then the likelihood that I would have passed that defect on would have been very big. These were the things that affected me as a person. A ton of tests, a ton of appointments at the doctor, and after a while quite a bit of mental issues, or pressure better say, not issues, as well. Because it's when we were there at the doctor and he gave the diagnosis that I am infertile, and the numbers are actually pretty bad. If you take a normal person, a normal couple, and you say they want to conceive, they have a chance of about 30%. So after 4 months of trying, they should have a baby, or the lady should be pregnant. If you take my numbers, I have a 1% chance. Which means we would have to try for 100 months. Then we'd statistically have a baby. So it's not impossible. But 100 months is like 8 years. And I'm 36. Yeah. No. So for me as a person, it affected me quite a bit, as I said, in a bunch of ways, which is why I wanted to make this video, especially for the people who aren't familiar with my channel and stumble upon this video by clicking on the title, because I assume they do so, because it affects them as well, and it's a topic that isn't talked about very much, but it should be. So if you are affected by this, as I am, you are not alone. This is one of the main things I want to convey with this video. Feel free to talk about it. You should talk about it, because you need someone to talk to. It's gonna eat away at you otherwise. You're gonna question yourself. Am I dysfunctional? Am I even okay? Am I still a man without being able to? And yes, and no, wait, no. Yes, and you aren't dysfunctional. You are still okay, you're still a man. If you take the numbers on this, they're actually pretty shocking. I found a sheet from the Oxford University that says in the past 40 years, the number of semen that men produce globally has halved. So yeah, we lost half our fertility in the past 40 years. Scientists aren't really sure what caused this. They have a bunch of theories, but nothing has been clearly proven just yet. And in general, you can say that out of 6 couples, 1 of them will have the problem that they can't conceive in a natural way. So it's a very, very more common problem than you would think. So I'm hoping that me looking into the camera, talking to you about it, is hopefully inspiring those of you who are afflicted as well to talk about it too. And don't feel ashamed about it. You're still fine, you're still good, you're still you. Now, how does it affect me as a partner? And that was also quite difficult, because for a while, luckily a very short while, because I have an amazing girlfriend that is now my amazing wife, and we were able to talk about it very well, but I felt insecure in my sexuality. I felt like I was letting my wife down, you know, because if you look at what is necessary now for us to have children, biological children, not adopted ones, it's a lot. And it 90% rests on her. I would even say 98%. So if you're in this situation as well, I highly recommend that you talk to your partner very openly. Don't be afraid to talk about your feelings, your emotions. This is something that we don't do in our society enough. I cannot recommend and stress enough how important that is. If you decide that the two of you want to have children in the only way possible, which is by artificial fertilization now, then you must be on the same boat with this, because it's gonna be a bumpy, expensive and very stressful ride. So when it comes to me as a partner in a relationship, I would even say that it made me a better partner, because it made me more observant and it made me look more into what actually comes with the entire biology of things, something that I should have been aware more earlier. Because women have it hard. It's tough. Like, I was aware of that, but I wasn't aware of how deep that goes and how easy, like, it's unfair. It is absolutely unfair. We'll talk about what my wife will have to go through now because of me in a way, but it's important to keep it in my head that it's not my fault. But yeah, the discrepancies, they're huge. What a man has to do, what a woman has to do, it's crazy. To sum this up, I think what I personally can take away from all of this is that I have still ways to grow. That I must grow if I want to be a good partner, especially in difficult situations like these. But this is why we are all humans. We all have the potential to grow to be amazing, but we have to work hard for that. Now for the trickiest question, what does that mean for me as a potential father? I can technically still have children, but as I said, the chances for that are incredibly low. So artificial fertilization, it's a possibility, and depending on where you live, it's gonna be wildly different from what I experience here in Germany, but there are a bunch of things that will overlap. So I'll share my experiences so far. After a bunch of talking, we decided for artificial fertilization because my girlfriend really wants her own biological family, and I would love that too. And while adoption is a valid option, we want to try this way first. So we went to a specialized clinic where we had a bunch of tests yet again, and here is where I first encountered the big gap that there is in justice between men and women when it comes to all of this. We go to this doctor and we get our data taken, and my girlfriend has to fill out this 2 to 3 sides of paperwork where she has to put down everything, like, do you have allergies, do you have this, do you have that, have you ever been ill in this manner or that. I got a duck here real quickly. And all that I had to do was give my name and insurance card. That was it, even though we knew I was the problem. So after sitting there for quite some time, such a doctor's appointment isn't easy to get here, we got into the doctor, started talking to her, and we were like, so we actually know what the problem is. I'm the problem. I have this from my doctor here, these documents, they say these are the numbers, they are bad. And then she was like, then I'm gonna need this information from you, and that information, and this, and that. So basically she filled out this entire paperwork that my girlfriend, my wife, I'm still not used to saying that my wife had to fill out beforehand, just because they naturally assumed she would be the problem. And while statistically it might be the case that it's a higher percentage of women who encounter this problem of being clinically infertile, it is still unfair to just assume that, in my opinion. Like, we came in there and everybody basically looked at her and like, oh, the poor woman, she can't have children, where I'm the problem, it's not her. After that was out of the way, we talked about what was gonna happen. There are basically 3 methods of artificial fertilization that are practiced in Germany. And the first one is when you this is gonna be a bit weird to talk about, but as I said before, you know what kind of video you clicked on, so we're gonna talk about it. First method. You take the semen of the man, he's doing it in a little jar, then they put that in a syringe, take the syringe and implant that into the woman when she is fertile. So basically you're trying to help the semen travel the way, if they can't travel by themselves very well. So for us this was basically not an option. The doctor literally said, if we choose this, you give us a lot of money, but that's it. You may as well just continue trying the natural way. By a bunch of money, she said that every try, like, it's not like every try will be a success. All of these methods have a certain percentage of success. The one I just talked about, I believe, is at 25%, maybe 27%. Depends on the country, depends on the study you're looking at. And for this method, she said it would be around 900 euros per try. Now, we are super lucky here in Germany, because when I say 900 euros, we have stately health insurance, which means we get at least 50% of that back from our insurance. So it's 450, which seems affordable, at least a lot more affordable than 900. But yeah, as I said, this option was out of the question for us. We would have preferred this actually, as it's the most natural way possible. All the other 2 options are in a jar. How do you call this in English? I'll put it on screen, maybe there. So you bring together the egg and the semen in this little jar and then let them do their thing there. And after that you check, is the egg fertilized? And if so, you put it back into the woman. That is option number 2. We call it in vitro fertilization. That might be the English term as well, but don't take my word for that. We're actually approaching a street. Let me turn here. This has a success rate of about 27% to 30%, which is better because it's a more controlled environment and they can be selective with the eggs and with the semen. It is also a lot more expensive though. The doctor said we could calculate costs around 3,000 per try. That would leave us with 1,500 per try, which still, you know, that's better than 3,000, but it's a lot of money. And if you just look at the numbers, we have, let's say, 25% chance of success. So we'd have to try up to 4 times. 4 times 1,500, that's 6,000, which is a lot of money. And then still, you're not certain that it has worked. And so far, we're only talking about the money. It's a lot of mental pressure as well. And especially for the woman, it's that is the real injustice of this all. My wife will have to take some insane medication, some very strong hormones, because we have to go with the third option because of me and how bad everything is. The third option is very similar to the second. just that you actually handpick a semen cell, a little floaty thing. Like, I won't do that, an expert will do that. He will put it in the tiniest of syringes and directly implant that into the egg, which that sounds crazy, but it's what we're going for. And for that to work, they need as many fertilizable, potentially good eggs from my wife as possible. And in order for that to be a thing, she needs to produce more than she would naturally, which means she has to take some crazy medication that will mess with her hormones greatly. And all I can do is watch and support her the best I can, which is it's rough. I don't know how to phrase this. I would love if it would be on me, right? If all this hardship would be on me and not on her. This is one of the mental things you just have to deal with. Like, we talked about it, we agreed, we want this, and now I have to respect that it was her decision to go through this, and she wants this. I'm very grateful for that, but it's also hard to know what she has to go through now, and it's because of me without it being my fault. I constantly tell myself that because I have to. It's not my fault. I can't control what has happened to me. I can only control what I do with it, which is the important takeaway from all of this. Yeah, the success rates for the thing we're trying are about 33%, which is the best, but still it could mean that it takes us up to 3 tries. And I mentioned our state health insurance. I'm not entirely sure about the English correct term. And this only pays for up to 3 tries. Pretty sure because of these numbers. They see 33% and they are like, if it hasn't worked after the 3rd try, it's not gonna work. Where scientists say that is bogus, that is garbage. But yeah, money people say money. But I shouldn't complain too much. It's actually crazy how much they support us financially, because 90% of the costs are at the insurance of my wife, because she has to take the medication. We bought the first set just a couple of days ago, which was $600, which is already only half of what it actually costs, thanks to insurance. And her insurance offers us even that we send in the bill for that, and then we get further 25% off of the original costs. So money-wise, that's a huge burden off our chest. We should be able to do 3 tries. If it doesn't work for the first one, money-wise, that shouldn't be a big problem. But mentally, we will have to see, because this is an entirely different thing. We don't know yet how it will affect us. If we try and fail, we don't know how this medication will affect my wife. We have to see, and all I can do is be there for her in the best way I can, which is what I'm focusing on majorly at the moment, which is why hardly any videos at all. My main priority is her, making sure she's happy, she's fine, she's okay, as happy, as fine, as okay as she can be. Second is my job, because I have to pay bills, and a lot of them at the moment. And third is my own mental health. I need to make sure that I'm okay through this, and then comes the channel. So it could be quite a while still before we go back to regular videos. I'll try all I can. Live streams are very difficult at the moment, because life is very difficult at the moment, and I just don't know how I feel. I can't predict it. It could be that I'm great. The last live stream we did helped me immensely. Like, you guys were so amazing. You had some fan art ready and everything in it. Oh boy, that made my day there. But it's very hard to predict. Yeah, that concludes this. Basically, this was all I had to say. Some general information about the topic, some personal information about the topic, and what is going on behind the scenes, so to say. If you are here because you're also affected with this and clicked on the video to find out what other people think and say about it, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you got some information that will help you. The best advice I can give you is search for someone you can talk to. If you're in the unfortunate situation that you don't have any friends or family member that you trust enough to talk about this, search professional help. There are a lot of people who are specialized in this subject. We actually have, we got an address for some psychiatrists, words English difficult, that in Germany come together with this whole procedure. So by going into this procedure, we also have a dedicated spot. I think I'm lost. A dedicated spot with these psychiatrists. There's the way. And don't feel like, don't get any stupid ideas like you're weak because you need a psychiatrist, a psychologist. You're not weak. That's something that way more people should actually do, because it's very good, and we're living in a crazy world with crazy things happening all the time, and we don't learn to cope with them. Hardly any of us learn these abilities in our childhood, and don't even get me started on school. School, at least over here and in most other countries, is garbage. If you're here because you're actually interested in me as a person, because you like my videos, I'm sorry to say that yeah, these will still be slow for a while to come. I think I will focus on Minecraft for the time being, just because there's the iCraft community. It's good for me to play with these guys. It's a lot of fun. It helps me relax, calm down from all this craziness. I hope you enjoyed the walk through the forest. It's a lovely forest. You can hear the birds, I hope. I hope the quality with the camera is okay. My first time trying this camera, trying this microphone. We'll see how it all turns out. And I hope I will see you next time, whenever that will be. Don't feel down though. It's not like I'm ending this video on a down note. It's a difficult time. It's a very difficult time. But we are determined, and we are great, my wife and I, as a team. And we'll just see how we get through this. We will get through this, but we don't know what the end result will be. If we can manage to fulfill our dream and have our own little family or not, we'll just see. This is life. There are good things, there are bad things. You have to go through the bad things to be able to appreciate the good things. So on that a bit more positive note, I hope, I would say we end it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking through this rather deep topic, and I hope we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.